And now to details of these stories. Raila Odinga, the leader of Kenya's opposition coalition, the National Super Alliance, NASA, has said the group will challenge the results of the August 8th presidential elections in court. Mr. Odinga told the news conference in the capital, Nairobi, that NASA's decision to go to the Supreme Court was a second chance for the apex court to redeem its image. He cited the 2013 petition that was dismissed. He explained the legal option shows that the opposition coalition had taken the path pointed to by the electoral laws and by most observer missions that were in Kenya for the elections.
Mr. Odinga was initially to make the announcement on Tuesday, but NASA postponed the address to Wednesday, citing complexity and delicate nature of issues. The deferral attests to the difficulty of making the choice, but also a possible dissension within the coalition. Having lost in the last three elections, Raila Odinga opted the matter be taken to Kenya Supreme Court, where he lost the 2013 presidential election petition. The coalition had initially ruled out going to court despite pressure from the international community. At the age of 72 years, this could be his last presidential bid.
Yes, indeed. We are now being joined by Barak Muluka. Barak Muluka, thank you for joining us again, Barak. And yes, from what we have seen, the latest development, the opposition coalition seems to have heeded the calls to seek redress in the courts, something that initially seemed out of the question after calling for a general strike. What could have compelled them now towards this path? What has changed?
It's not a decision that has surprised me altogether, because within the NASA fraternity that Raila Odinga belongs are a number of different shades of opinion, politicians of different kinds of persuasion in the face of conflict. There would be the hardliners who would be saying that there is no recourse apart from civic unrest. But within the same formation, there are also more sober-minded individuals who would be saying that let us put our evidence together and let us go to court. So I think that it's an indication that the voice of the moderates has carried the day, and that is why they are going to court.
Raila Odinga is saying the decision to go to court constitutes a second chance for the Supreme Court. What critics have said might be sour grapes from the last petition, and also probably he would not accept the decision taken this time around if it's not in his favor, because he's saying that, you know, this time around this is a second chance for the Supreme Court to redeem its image.
When conceding defeat after the Supreme Court made its decision the last time, he said that we concede, but we do not accept the judgment that they have reached. It's an indication that from the very outset he never quite agreed with the Supreme Court. And there are many people who did not believe, basically because there was a lot of evidence that the Supreme Court did not go through at that time, claiming that the evidence had been time-barred, and therefore the victory that the Supreme Court awarded President Uhuru Kenyatta was hugely based on a technicality rather than on substantive material evidence that it had sifted through. In that regard, I think there would be many other people within his following and within his camp who would believe, as he does, that the Supreme Court let him down, let itself down, and maybe let down a swathe of Kenyan voters. Whether he will accept or not, I don't think that after the court takes whatever decision it does this time, that he would be justified to get in the streets again to say that he is protesting against the decision of the court. But we can only wait and see.
Barack, is Kenya really divided as Odinga claims? And if it is, what would it take to unite and forge ahead after these elections?
The country has been divided. It has been divided for a very long time, maybe for 10 years, maybe even slightly more, because if you look at even the voting patterns, you can see that they flow along very clearly defined ethnic compositions and camps. And the loss of one side is seen as the defeat of a certain cluster of tribes. The victory of one side is seen also as the victory of a certain cluster of tribes. Here in Kenya, as if political parties win or lose elections, tribes win and tribes lose. What is the way forward? I think the government of the day needs to come up with an ethnic diversity management policy and a program, agenda, or whatever it may be called, because this cannot go on. This carries on to 2022. I don't know whether there will be a country to speak of again.
I'm afraid that's where we'll have to leave it. Barack Muluka speaking to us there from Nairobi. Thank you very much, Barack, for joining us. Okay.